Hello everybody, good evening. How are we doing tonight? We're going to do our bi-yearly or quarter-yearly, anywhere between 2 and 4 times a year. I believe this is either the second or third video of this kind I've done on this channel. Throw up some Team Fortress 2 footage, talk about how life's going. I believe we're going to be sampling from some sniper gameplay on King of the Hill Harvest, if I'm not mistaken. Before we get into it, I just want to say I'm not a good sniper by any stretch of the imagination. I'm trying to practice. My relatively decent kill-death ratios are because I am a sniper v sniper merchant, and because I'm good at clicking on heavies. Now, granted, those are two very important jobs of the sniper in Team Fortress 2, but I wouldn't call it the hard ones. When it comes to hitting moving targets, I am, let's call it inconsistent. There are a few nice frags in this compilation here. I believe it's 2 different full games of Harvest in regular Valve pubs. Somewhere along the line in the second game, I completely lose my audio, so there are a couple of points where obviously I would be hearing these audio cues, and I do hear them in the first game. I don't hear them in this one. And then just for shits and giggles, a little bit of tech on the loadout. I used the Bizarre Bargain because I believe that ever since it got buffed, it's absolutely broken. I don't feel like I'm a good enough sniper, good enough with the class to really benefit from it, but the fact that you don't lose the benefit after missing, really good for a scrub like me. We throw on the Cozy Camper because I hate the Scorch Shot more than I hate Spies. Being able to stay fully scoped, especially if I can get it quick with the full benefit of the Bizarre Bargain, I like that a lot, not having to entirely rely on medics. I don't have to rely on health packs. And then I rock a Triholman Shiv, mainly because I need something against Spies. I'm not running a Razorback, I'm not running Girardi. I am using the Cozy Camper. I like having a crutch against Spies, even though it doesn't do a whole lot of damage otherwise. As far as housekeeping items and preemptive hand-wringing about the quality or lack thereof of the gameplay footage you're about to watch, that should be it, and we should be able to dive into what's going on, which is kind of the point of these videos, right? Throw up some gameplay footage, it's not all that good, throw up some background music, and yak for about anywhere from 13 to 17 minutes about, how am I doing, whatever I really feel like yakking about that day. And a lot has happened. And let's start with maybe the biggest one that I can think of, and that's been the weight loss journey. Getting to the finish line of the weight loss journey that I've been on for the past 2, probably 3 years. This is something that I'm not very happy about with myself, but during the pandemic, somewhere around 2021, 2022, beginning of 2022, I was sitting weighing in about 280 pounds. I was quite large, quite big, quite obese, very unhealthy. I had a very particularly sobering doctor's appointment where my primary care doctor essentially told me if I don't take care of this soon, I don't have any warning signs now, but the medical statistics were not in my favor, and I was in a very grave risk of having some perilous health outcomes in my early 40s, essentially. So over the next year and a half, I probably shaved 20 to 30 pounds off by simply dieting and counting the calories, but I fell off the horse after about 6 months. Now, luckily, I was able to maintain at around probably 250, which was probably the weight that I landed in Utah at. At the very beginning of the year, my Uncle John gave me a Fitbit, and that little watch might be one of the most important pieces of technology, most important material possessions I've ever owned in my life, simply because it gave me hard numbers and a way to track my physical activity, track my calorie intake, all on a watch, all on an app. I'm a very hard numbers kind of guy. I like being able to put analytics, and even though I'm not a math guy at all, which is really funny, and any of my friends would tell you that, I do like having hard numbers to be able to quantify my ideas and preconceptions. So having a built-in step counter, having a built-in heart rate monitor, all these sorts of things, it really helped me nail down my unhealthy habits and eliminate them one by one. At first, it really was as simple as not eating like a garbage disposal every day, every once in a while cooking a relatively decent and involved meal for myself, making sure that my portion sizes were getting under control, that sort of thing. Making sure to, at bare minimum, my lazy day dinner wouldn't be fast food, but it would be like a couple of eggs and some broccoli and some quickly thrown together chicken. Just making slightly better choices. subbing out the regular Coke for a Diet Coke, which I'm still a fiend for. Probably will always be a fiend for a Diet Coke. Give me a nice cold Diet Coke, I'll take on the world. Earlier in the year, I got dumped by my first romantic long-term partner in a while, and after about probably 1 to 2 months of sitting there and feeling sorry for myself, I realized I had to get up and do something about it. I had to, at bare minimum, take the negative energy from that and get it out in some form or another. As fate would have it, the way that I chose to cope with this negative energy and physically get it out of me was by walking. Utah, you can say a lot about Utah, and there are a lot of things that I'm not the biggest fan of Utah for, but the geography out here is beautiful. It's fascinating. There's topography out here that I've never seen outside of a National Geographic book. And granted, I haven't even seen the south part of the state. Just where I live, the mountains are beautiful. Not even getting into the hiking, just walking in the neighborhood, having the mountain view right there. It's all the motivation you need to get outside. So me, being the way that I am a relatively obsessive person at my core. It has been a bad thing, but if you can leverage that, in my experience, leverage it to things that benefit you, like exercise and pursuing your hobbies and your craft, and then learning how to temper it when necessary, learning how to cope with it, coping mechanisms through therapy, talking about it with friends and family, that sort of thing. So I got really hooked on walking, not even hiking, just walking through the neighborhood. I would probably relatively easily clear 5 to 7 mile walks every day, or at minimum 5 out of every 7 days. Not out of any obligation to do it, not even primarily for physical benefit, mainly to clear my mind, mainly to be able to, scan my eyes across the horizon, look at the sun, get some vitamin D. Also, it happened to melt the pounds off of me. And then really the triple threat, the thing that really brought it all together for me, tangentially but related, I got diagnosed with ADHD. It has been something that has really been an affliction for me for a long time. It has manifested in many ways. I can remember it manifesting as a small child, probably as early as kindergarten, but I never pursued anything about it because deep down, I'm a guy. I didn't want to pursue help for my mental health. Very toxic of me. My therapist and I finally started to link up on this topic and bring it up because we had been talking about much more important things, quite frankly. We finally got to a point where it could be brought up, and as it turns out, yes, I display almost all of the traits for it. I was able to take that into a psychiatrist and get medicated for it, and I'll tell you what, one of the benefits of this, aside from helping me be able to focus on tasks and accomplish things and being able to silence the mind, but not even in a bad way. You know that if you're an ADHD, or you will understand this, right? That fire hose of information, right, that you're constantly being tormented with. It's so loud and it's so difficult to tease anything out of. I've described it as trying to fill a water bottle with a fire hose. I've described it as television static. It makes it so much more manageable. Not quiet in a bad way. It quiets it down to where you can focus. And that's the big thing. But another thing that I came to find out through my research is that ADHD is primarily it's a misregulation of the dopamine system. I don't want to go too far into it because I'm a janitor. I'm not a health professional. I don't want to bastardize anything. But it's a dopamine misregulation disorder. And one of the many ways that undiagnosed ADHD people will try to find dopamine is through binge eating, which is something that I have fallen victim to at times. Golly, if you put a family-sized bag of plain tortilla chips, I'm talking like the stone-cut ground ones, the fancy ones in the brown paper bag that you buy for $7 at your local Harmon's, I am liable to destroy that entire bag in probably 30 minutes, frankly, less on a bad day. And you have to think that's 2,000 to 3,000 calories in a bag right there, not to mention the regular meals I'd been eating. It's no wonder I got to the point where I was. Now, granted, I'm not trying to entirely pin my poor eating decisions on ADHD. I have to own some of that. But the binge eating craving completely went away. My appetite normalized. And I was so bewildered by this, I had to look into it, and that's, from what I was able to find on Google University, that's what seems to be the case. So you add on to the fact I have the Fitbit, the sobering conversation, the walking, I'm eating better and I'm eating regular amounts of food, and you add on to the fact that I'm treating something that has been a burden on me for my entire life. All of that has seemed to work in my favor, and now I'm sitting at 193 pounds as of this recording. I've lost a shade over 50 pounds this year. And from my peak of 280, 285, I'm down around 90 pounds in the past 2 years. I'm very thankful for that. I'm very grateful for that. My health markers are better. I've been playing basketball recently, and I've been able to do it too, which I really can't hammer that home enough. I don't get burnt out. I don't get out of breath very quickly anymore. I have athletic stamina, which is something that I've really never had, even in high school when I played sports, but I was always too damn big. I've always loved sports, and I can play them now. I don't know, I'm a little bit late to try to make the pro scene, granted, but I can play recreational pickup and not be an embarrassment. Now, there has been a very interesting new set of problems to tackle that have come from this particular weight loss journey I've been on. One, and I've talked about this with my friends, you can take the big out of the guy, but you can't take the guy out of the big. It was something really stupid that I said on a late night Discord call, kind of jokingly, but the more that I think about it, I think I might have been cooking with that. I've been big my whole life. I've grown up big. That's what I've been my whole life. I've been a bigger guy. And when that's the lens you see the world through, it kind of colors how you see the world. Very truist, very circular logic. But if that's how you've known the world your entire life, and now you're only at the age of 22, you've gotten a little bit healthier, you're kind of slim now, people treat you a little bit differently. They do. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's been something I've talked about in therapy. That's something I've been working through. People that I've known for a while are treating me with a little bit more respect. Strangers treat me a lot better. And on one hand, I do get it. Being physically fit does signal a lot of good things to strangers. But was I not worthy of respect when I was struggling and dealing with a lot of mental health issues and dealing with unrecognized food addictions? Was I not worthy of being treated like I do now? Was I not worthy of that then? The self-esteem has not quite matched the physical progress that I've made this year. Let's just say that. And that will come in time. That's something that I have to be patient about. That's the mental side of it. That's always going to be the hard thing for me, is the mental side of the equation. I've just come to accept that. But it is a little bit frustrating. All that said, it's an excellent problem to have, and I'm very thankful that I was able to invest in myself and believe that I'm worth investing in like that. You know, an issue that I ran into when I reflect on my not failed, but incomplete attempt to lose the weight a few years ago, I was really trying to hate the pounds off of me. I was trying to melt them off through sheer spite alone, as if to say, this is what you get for treating yourself so poorly. You have to be a hard ass on yourself. And perhaps that might work for some people. It didn't work for me. Hating the pounds off wasn't going to be the ticket for me. Fundamentally, I had to believe that I was worth investing in, worth putting the time in, worth putting in healthy food into my body. Essentially, the blunt, but not brutal, but the blunt honesty that I had to have with myself and tell myself that what I was doing wasn't healthy had to come out of a place of love, not self-hatred. In terms of barbershop for me this year, we were able to go to Harmony College Midwest this year, which unfortunately was a little bit more dramatic and eventful than I would have liked. Me and my quartet freelance, our new baritone, my brother in Harmony, and brother in life, Max Coxon, unfortunately had a seizure, which made the weekend very eventful for us. Thankfully, we were able to cap it off by singing at the Saturday night show. We're very thankful for that. We're thankful that he was able to pull through. What a tough nut. My best friend, one of my best friends in the world. So thankful we were able to share that moment. I got to sing with Mischief, the 2022 Rocky Mountain District Quartet champions, on tenor on the Saturday night show of the Rocky Mountain District Prelims and Harmony College event that was around the end of April this year. Unfortunately, that event was not the most ideal for me. The 7-hour drive to Cheyenne, Wyoming was one of the more soul-sucking things that had ever happened to me. I was not in the best mental place. I'd only been dumped about a week prior. We were all very vocally tired by the end of that weekend, and we did not, at least in my opinion, I don't think I was able to put out my best product. I think that's it's not one of the better Mischief sets that they've ever sang. But it was still really cool to be part of it, get to meet people on the other side of the mountains, being able to meet people in a new barbershop district, even though it was, I'll be honest, probably the worst barbershop event so far in my time in the hobby. I'm still very thankful for it in hindsight. I got to compete in my third consecutive international chorus contest, this time with a third different chorus on a third different part. I'm racking them up. I'm like Walmart Gary Lewis. I'm the Ben Zobrist of barbershoppers, but that would probably be a Dan Rubin type, wouldn't it? I'm probably more of the, I don't know, maybe the Christian Betancourt of barbershop? That's a very deep pull. But this year I was at Cleveland, Ohio. I competed with Prism Barbershop Chorus. It's a very inclusive organization, very, very liberal and progressive and rainbows, and it's a pretty cool group of people. I've met a lot of friends, and I'm very thankful for, of course, getting to catch up with the barbershop community at large. And I'll tell you what, Cleveland, I know it's Ohio, I know it's got the Browns, I know the Cavaliers have only recently been relevant since the departure of LeBron James. I'll tell you what, Cleveland was not as bad as I was expecting it to be, and I would even go so far as to say I had a good time in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. So huge shout out to Prism, huge shout out to all the friends that I was able to make in that chorus, huge shout out to all the friends that I was able to reconnect with, and I'd like to give one more shout out to the land for being a really good barbershop city. Probably my second favorite international out of the three that I've been to, or let me correct myself, the second favorite city that I've been in. As long as we never go back to Charlotte, I don't really care where we have it, frankly. A couple weeks ago I got to go to Denver, Colorado to sing with a Prism pickup quartet called For Sure, yes, the number 4. Yeah, yes, it's very cheesy, very corny. And we rehearsed once, and we sang a song on the Timberliners show. We were the mic testers, first quartet of the evening. But mainly we had a great time. It was great food, great time hanging with the friends, getting to meet a lot of people on the other side of the Rocky Mountains, especially the Denver folks. I'd never been in Denver except for a short hospital stint. Also following Harmony College Midwest. That's a different story for another day, though. But I had a blast there, too. In a few weeks, I'll be returning to Cheyenne, Wyoming to compete with the Saltaires in the regional contest there. And then immediately the week after that, I'll be flying to Dallas to once again compete with Prism in the Southwestern District, my first time in that district. That's so much travel. And I am very excited for all of it. I'm also looking forward for it to be done. I am looking forward to the back half of the calendar being a break for me, shutting her down after October. The Saltaires don't do Christmas stuff, which I am, at least this year, very, very thankful for the opportunity to be able to maybe reset a little bit. But it's been a very fun and eventful year as far as traveling and being able to have the opportunity to meet new people and sing across the country. I guess we're gonna have to wrap it up here because I believe I only have about 20 minutes of usable footage here. But one of the really cool things that happened on the way to Denver, I ran into an Uber driver, and that Uber driver happened to be the director of game day operations with the Utah Skating Utes, the college hockey program of the University of Utah. It appears to be a mostly volunteer, part-time job, student-ran program. It's not your Boston College or anything like that, but it's a college hockey program. And this guy, I briefly mentioned offhand that one of my dream career, or the dream career, frankly, is being a sports broadcaster, sports journalism. He offered me a spot in the booth for this year's Skating Utes, being a PA announcer, and if I don't suck at that, I might be calling, not professional, force a habit there, I might be calling college hockey games. I might be play-by-play or color. All the national anthem opportunities I want, that was something he said he had a hard time finding. I might be calling hockey games, though. This might be the first step into actually getting in front of a microphone and broadcasting sports, which, my God, it's something I've wanted to do for my entire life. If my parents are to be believed, my first word right out of the womb wasn't mom, wasn't dad. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been right out of the womb, wouldn't it? My first word wasn't mom, dad, goo-goo, or gaga. It was basketball. And while my parents have given me very fair reason to not believe what they had to say, why would they both agree on this? They didn't agree on anything. In that sense, I've been talking sports since quite literally I was born. It's something I've always wanted to do. I have a power ranking favorite list of broadcasters. That's not a normal thing for a person to have. It's my dream job, and hell, this might be a volunteer opportunity. I'm not making any money to do it, but that might be the start. That might be the foot in the door. And to tell you the truth, I'm incredibly excited. And I'm going to say it. I'm optimistic for what the future has in store for me. I'm in the best physical shape of my life. I'm getting back into sports. My friendships are in a relatively healthy spot. And other than having to deal with the occasional problem that is the ADHD medication crisis in this country, once a month or so, having to play the game of trying to find where that stuff is in a pharmacy in the United States. Other than that, I'm not content. I'm never content. Right, I'm always hungry to continue to improve and get better, but I'm happy with things. With where things are right now as opposed to where they were a year ago, where they were a couple years ago. And to tell you the truth, right now at this moment, if I look back a few months ago, I was in a pretty terrible mood. I'm a lot better than that now. I'm just in a better mental health spot. The therapy's been great to me. My friends and family are excellent. Again, I cannot stress that enough. And I have a lot of optimism looking forward, a lot of uncertainty. Always a lot of uncertainty. I'm at that point in my life, 22, 23, turn 23 in a couple months. I mean, I feel like you're supposed to have a lot of uncertainty, frankly, at this point in my life. But I am optimistic that things will work themselves out. And we are reaching about the end of the tape here, I believe. In fact, I might have went a little bit too far. Might have to cut some fat here. But if you've made it all the way near to the end, the secret phrase for this video is once again, as it was last time, washer fluid. Hit me with a washer fluid in the comments so I can question your life decisions for watching very mediocre sniper gameplay and listening to me yak for 24 minutes damn near. I said this was going to be at maximum 17. I lied. But anyway, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching all the multi-tracks. Thank you for being an excellent community here, even though it's a small YouTube channel. I've been around long enough, and we have enough of a following here, that there are regular characters, and I recognize you. And I thank you for being here. And that's all I've got for the night. Take care, sleep well, brush your hair, crack open a Diet Coke for me.